Hello, it's Ansara. Decided to come on right now and record some story time. Just some records of my life. Some parts and pieces anyway. Because I've held back doing so for so long. In fact, on anything I have shared more recently, I'm sure I've mentioned opening up more about my life story, just for context, but also just for me, and for record keeping, let's say, and just for speaking it out loud. And I know we all have stories to share. The song that has been coming through for weeks, months even. I think it was last year sometime when I was first actually called to start sharing, and I was so resistant. I was so hesitant. Very hesitant for 1,000 reasons. The song that kept coming through, I'm like, that's how I get a lot of messages and guidance, just through music. It's a Madonna song actually, and it was "Live to Tell." And yeah, there's a reason I survived all that I did, and not just survived, but lived through it all, and I'm now called to share it. So here we go. Whew. So one of the things that I experienced as a child is SRA. And if you're not familiar with it, I guess you could go look it up, but it's ritualistic abuse. And I'm nervous to do this. That's okay though. I'm gonna do it anyway. Yeah. And that started for me at a very young age. And gosh, there's so many details of it. And I'm sure, most people are probably pretty familiar nowadays with this sort of thing. And I know I'm not the only one that this happened to. There's probably many. And, what it testifies of, though, isn't like that I was a victim. Like, I'm not wanting that to be the focal point of any of my shares. I did endure a lot of abuse, torture, and trauma on levels that are unspeakable. But I'm still here, and I'm still shining. I'm still sharing. And I'm still wanting to speak of God and of love and of truth that exists beyond space and time as this universal principle, but it's beyond a principle, this power. It's this power and ability that we have to live in a space that there's not even a word for. It's love, it's universal love, it's oneness, but it's so much more. It's so much more than I could ever put to words, and so maybe that's why I'm called to share, is because it can only come through my voice and my eyes, and through those experiences as a child, I was broken open. And that was the point and purpose of it. I was aware even then that, they were breaking me, breaking my vessel. They were opening me so that they could use it for their purposes. And that's okay. Well, it's not okay, but, I am okay now, and I'm okay sharing this part of my life. as it pertains to the now. And, you know, they created a channel and a bridge, and so now I get to channel the divine. And I get to share it as it comes through. And, you know, it comes through in different ways every day. I will say that it, you know, even as a child and even like in the thick of it when I was going through it, and I guess I'll share a little bit more onto it. I touch it and then I back off. You know, I was used for many different groups and purposes. I was used to channel a lot of darkness, but that had nothing to do with me. And what else can I say on it? A lot of it was experimental. I was experimented on. I was taken to lots of underground facilities. You know, there were a lot of religious groups, spiritual groups, you know, a lot of people in the community. Yeah, a lot of people that wanted power and money and whatever else. Wanted to tap into certain things in the unseen that they were aware that I was able to, I was born with natural gifts, as many of us are, as all of us are actually. I see, you know, I have all the clairs and, very psychic. I see it as we all have these abilities, everyone on earth. We just haven't learned to use them, and I see it in the way of playing an instrument. Like, some people can pick up a guitar and just play it, and they just are naturally so good at it and tuned to it, and they'd hardly need, you know, a lesson or a class or know what they're doing. And then some people, it might take them years to even get a little bit good, and with a lot of teaching and practice, but they can still play it. And so that's the way that psychic gifts and abilities are. We can, you know, our intuition is one layer to that, and anyone can tune into that. It's readily available. I'm shaking with this share. This is me, raw and vulnerable as ever, and called to share on this because, you know, many people see me coming online and posting and sharing and even starting to record these videos and talk and share. They don't know where I've come from, and I think that's a message that wants to come through as well, because, you know, that's true of all of us. When we meet and talk to someone, or when we see their profile online, we don't know what they've been through. We don't know where they've come from. I think that might take away some of these layers so we can better connect with one another. It's just, you know, and it's okay not to know. Like, maybe not everyone is called to share, like, the everything they've been through, the deepest, darkest things especially, but just knowing that we don't know, and that there's this element of mystery, and also, you know, that, yeah. Anyhow, I think people see me sharing about love and unity and oneness, and there's a context behind that. Yeah, because it's been, you know, I dissociated for a very long time, which I don't see as a negative thing at all. It was a very beautiful aspect of, you know, it's a beautiful aspect of our mind that's able to endure so much and then, you know, sort of block it out and put it away and put it aside until it can come in later and we can face it and heal it, if you want to say heal, and process through it and integrate it into the fullness that we are, which is possible. I'm here to testify that it's possible with anything. Even on a collective scale, we can take all of the trauma and the abuse and all that we've endured and we can integrate it into being whole and well, no matter what. Even with all this gnarly history on Earth and all the ways that we've wounded one another and been wounded and wounded ourselves. And I was also, there's really no other way to put it. In my own home, I grew up in slavery, I would say, and was really brainwashed to believe that the things that were happening to me were happening to everyone and that it was normal. And yeah, gosh, I don't know, I honestly don't know what lingo is acceptable to use on some of these platforms. I don't know if I've really heard many people sharing about this specifically, but you know, it was sexual slavery, and it was from the age of 3 to 14, and yeah, it's important to know that I am in full forgiveness, and I see the way that everything needed to play out. I even see it as part of my specific training as a soul, and that I know we're crossing at that threshold now where we don't need to learn from all of that pain and suffering any longer, though. Especially if we can get it, if we can get this unification deal. We can agree to disagree and still and agree to be different and diverse and still work together and still come together in love and unity and oneness. Then we won't have to learn from all of this suffering anymore. That's how important it is. And I know that I don't know, there's a lot of different perceptions and ideas on, you know, different timelines that we all choose, but I think it's super important for me to speak on these things, but to speak it from a place where I know that some of those that hurt me the most, and even some of these, you know, organizations, which I don't want to say the names of all of them, but I am aware, you know, we all know the show Stranger Things, and, what they did at Montauk, and, even though I was at a different time period, and, a different place, different location, it was the same thing. Of course, it's, you know, Stranger Things is like, you know, the Hollywood version, but that stuff is real. There are other movies that come to mind, you know, when I saw Flatliners, I was like, man, they really do that, but they do it to kids. They did that to me. I was, oof. And there's different levels of dying, but, you know, I was killed and crossed over repeatedly. And then these scenarios would play out, you know. And I was given a lot of, you know, hallucinogens and different medications where I would then be taken into, like, a different reality and faced with, like, just horrifying things. things that are just unimaginable, but they're real, they really exist. Or do they? Because, see, they know how powerful we are. This is what wants to come through. They, we are so powerful. We are. And so, for a long time, it has been used against us, so to speak. They have used us to create all these different fractured and fragmented realities, these horrifying nightmarish hellscapes. And once we collapse those, and it happens first within, once we, take the helm and take the reins back of our own ship and decide what we want to see in the world and decide what we want to be in the world, and we get to create our dreams, our wildest dreams. And so, anyhow, I was kind of experimented on and used as a projector of these different insane hellscapes and different things, and weaponized. But the best part is that, and this was an extreme, my experience was extreme, to say the least. There's not even words that I could ever fully describe what I experienced and endured, but as I knew before this life, and I, chose this and wrote this script, and as God knew, I would be able to endure it, and not just endure it, but endure it well. I never lost my spark. Never. Never. Even in my darkest days, and even in all the life that followed, because my life, as bizarre as all that was, my life that followed all of those events, it got, yeah. I can't wait to share more and more specifically, because there's so many stories, there's so many things that want to come through. I know that many of the beings, the people, the beings, and the energies that were working through them, let's say, I don't know, and I don't want to say it like that because it sounds so scary, but it's not. It's just all here playing out. It's all here playing out through us and for us and with us and as us, and yeah. Now to play and create with how powerful we are. To flip the script. And yeah. And to be in full forgiveness of it all. It zeroes it all out. And brings you back to now, because see, all of that did happen, but I'm not in that space, in that place anymore, although I did learn a lot from it. Yeah. And maybe one day I'll be able to speak much more clearly on all of this, because it's still pretty challenging. You can probably feel that. If anything, you can probably feel that coming through, that it's pretty challenging to bring some of this up. Not out of fear, it's just awkward. It's awkward and uncomfortable, mostly because I'm here now, and all is well. All is well. When we wake up from the illusion, when we wake up from the nightmare, if there's anything that is so important to know, is that all is well. And all is well, and all is well. And all will be well, always, and forevermore. I don't think there's anything greater than this. Like, it's more than hope and faith. Like, it's a knowing. A deep, deep knowing that at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, all day, every day, all is well. You are seen and held and loved by the divine, no matter what you've faced and endured, no matter what you're currently facing and enduring. clouds always clear after the storm.